where the homes are not quite big enough for some people to move into. So they're being not looked at.
Right.
They're being overlooked. So that's where you can get a good deal.
First house, just get into it. Doesn't matter what it looks like. Second house, and get the one that you want.
Leading back into like how we've always spoken about the city and how we're different economically than the rest of Ontario, and how our real estate market is certainly different. So when you're listening to the news, the headlines about the market crashing is not crashing in Sudbury, Ontario, certainly.
Welcome to the TNT Real Estate Podcast, where we spark conversations that set you up for real estate success. I'm Tyler.
And I'm Tanya, and each week we bring you expert tips on navigating Northern Ontario's real estate market. Whether you're buying, selling, or investing, we've got the tools to help you thrive.
Welcome back to the TNT Real Estate Podcast. I'm Tanya, and I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Tyler. Tyler, how are we today?
I'm good. We're good.
We're good.
We had a crazy week.
It has been a crazy week. We've both been sort of out and about. We're both all with a bunch of our agents just in Toronto.
Right.
Seeing the great Michelle Obama.
Yeah, the former First Lady.
She's fantastic.
That's pretty cool. It was kind of, and we've seen, based on our like volunteer traveling, we've seen a bunch of notable names. 2 past presidents.
I miss George Bush.
Did you miss him? Yeah. He was actually good. He was probably my favorite of the 3.
Oh, really?
But were you there for Prince Harry last year?
Prince Harry, yeah.
You saw Prince Harry. I miss Prince Harry.
Okay.
But yeah, Michelle was really good. I mean, I feel bad because she was like so sick. Like you could tell she was like sniffling and coughing, but she was, just to be in the same room as somebody that has her power, I guess, was pretty neat.
And her experience.
And she was a normal human being. So it was good.
Well, one of the things that I thought was so nice, I mean, you mentioned her power, and I think she was very aware from the beginning, maybe not the beginning, but she was very aware of her position when they joined the White House and not taking that position for granted.
Right.
So I loved her stories, and we've read her book, like at our book club, we read her book. It was really, really good. But her story of how, it's so different than today, how she made a point of bringing kids to the White House all the time.
Right.
So if there was a state dinner happening, they would invite kids to come and do the tasting menu with them, kids from a local high school to like try the food out. Whenever a state dignitary was coming, they would have a group of school children there along with greeting them, because it wasn't about bringing the people who were donating to the party or the people who had a vested interest. It was about exposing those kids to something they otherwise wouldn't be exposed to.
Yeah. And it's something like, even like when I think of like, would I want to raise kids in DC? I'd be like, I feel like no. But then when you see stuff like that, like if you were a surrounding school close-ish to the White House that got the opportunities to go and do those things, like that would change. It could change a life.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that'd kind of be cool.
Yeah, I think she's a really remarkable woman who leads with like a servant attitude. She's always looking to like serve others and connect with others, and she's so genuine. And just going back to like how she was raised, not raised with a ton of money or anything, but never really feeling that they went without, because they had a great community, they had family to help them out. And, the point that her parents couldn't help her with Princeton or Harvard or any of those things that was foreign to her family. But she was instilled with the ability and the knowledge that hard work was what was going to get you far in life.
Right.
And I think that's a lesson we can all sort of learn, moving forward. That it's not about where you're born or, who you know. It's how you apply yourself and how you show up.
Absolutely.
Every day. I love her.
Yeah.
I love her. And then I missed yesterday.
Yes, you did.
You went to the mayor's lunch. How was that?
It was good. So it was the state, they call it the state of the city, state of the nation. Dario introduced the mayor and said, this is a state of the nation. And he just told everybody the reasons why he said that, which I'm not going to repeat, but it's just like Sudbury is like, we have to, the generality of it is like, Sudbury needs to stand.
We need to elevate ourselves.
We need to stand as our own like nation. Okay. It's like Sudbury versus the world type of thing. We need stuff.
That's
here.
a bit bold.
Yeah, it is bold. Anyways, but it was good. It was they talked about all the economic development. We're at the highest amount of jobs that we've ever had in the city. We are seeing cranes in the sky, which, I mean, as a child growing up in Sudbury, I don't think I've ever seen a crane in the sky, very little. And now there's multiple right now. There's tons of buildings going on. There's renovations, there's retrofits going on. And so it seems like Sudbury is a great place. It will be a great place, and it's a great place now. Will continue to be, and it'll probably be even better in the next decade.
Yeah.
So it seems to be all good things.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Do they talk about sort of the downtown and the arena development and any of that sort of helping to revitalize downtown, or maybe not if Dario was leading things?
I mean, they talked about like wanting to, and obviously Panoramic renovating the Scotia Tower and the Peace Tower on the top of the hill. Like there's developments happening, obviously, but it was kind of just like, we need to continue.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
And this is all kind of leading back into like how we've always spoken about the city and how we're different economically than the rest of Ontario, and how our real estate market is certainly different. So when you're listening to the news, the headlines about the market crashing is not crashing in Sudbury, Ontario, certainly. With all the jobs and the development that's happening here, we need housing.
And, in the mining sector, like they were talking about new mines opening, which is kind of like obviously a big issue, or not a big issue, a big plus, a big pro. And they were talking about how in demand nickel is right now, obviously with the EV movement and everybody going electric. Like it's huge. It will be huge, continue to be huge. So all good things, sounds like.
That's good.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yep.
Good for Sudbury.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so today we're going to be talking a little bit about economics. We're going to talk about budgets when you're buying a home. So to play it safe, or should you stretch your budget?
Yep.
And we're going to debate this. We're going to be on opposite ends.
Right.
I don't know if you agree with the position you're taking, but we're going to pretend it's like debate class.
I do, which is, I mean, I like my only example is myself and my clients, and I feel like I have good examples, which I haven't told you yet, what I will bring out in my debate.
That'll convince everybody why Tyler is right. Okay, so before we get into the debate, let's make sure we know what we're talking about and that we're talking about the same thing.
Right.
So what does top of your budget actually mean?
So I mean, it means to spend your budget. So when you go to the mortgage broker, they're going to give you an amount, and you're either going to spend basically that amount or try and push it and go for even more. Because I shouldn't say some, a small amount will actually be like, okay, you're approved for $600,000, but thinking that you're going to come back and be like, okay, I need $620,000 right now. And they'll be like, okay, we have a little bit of a flexibility. We can move some things around, or you're going to have to pay off this, whatever it is. So there is sometimes flexibility with your pre-approval. Not always. I wouldn't count on it unless you talk to your mortgage broker, but it's going for the gusto, spending all of the money that the bank is willing to give you. Yeah,
I find a lot of my clients will go into that mortgage broker appointment with their number in mind.
Right.
And they'll say, I want to know if I'm approved to 500. And that's the conversation. And they'll get that approval, but they won't necessarily know if there's more, or their bank will say, you know what, you're actually approved much higher.
Right.
So there's a difference between what you're willing to spend and what the bank says you can spend.
Yep.
And if you're a 2-income household and you don't have a lot of debt, often I find that budget that the bank approves you for is actually quite high, probably a lot higher than you think you want to spend.
Right.
So playing it safe doesn't necessarily mean being cheap, but maybe being a bit more economical and going lower than what the bank says you're pre-approved to.
Right.
Okay. So in Sudbury, what does the top versus mid-range typically look like in terms of a dollar value? What would you say is the top?
So I mean, a top range for
first timers. Should we keep it a first time home buyers?
Let's do move-up buyers. Move-up, it seems more. It seems exciting.
More apropos.
And I mean, it really depends. So, I would say move-up buyers. Your salary or your commission has obviously increased over the last, let's say, 5 years of home ownership. You're looking to sell your house. You maybe have a kid or 2 or 3 now, and you're looking to get more room, maybe in a better neighborhood, better school district, whatever it is. I would say most of those people that I've worked with would top out about $1 million, and they've bought 5 years ago for 200,000 to 300,000, your typical bungalow, or, you know, maybe outside of the city. Now you're moving into a 3-bedroom, 3,000 or 4,000 square foot house that has a double or triple garage, and maybe you want it a little bit newer. I would say you don't have to spend, but like, I don't see many of those people going above $1 million.
Right. So $1 million is probably your cap in terms of getting a much bigger house, probably a house in a nice neighborhood. And that would be so your max for a move-up buyer.
Yeah. I would say, I mean, if you're going to over $1 million, you're in a brand new custom build, you're on acreage or on water.
Okay. So top range, say it's $1 million. What would you say is kind of mid-range?
Mid-range for a move-up buyer, I think, is like 7 to 800,000.
Okay, I was going to say like 650.
Yeah,
I feel like 7 to 8 is in that top for a lot of people.
Yeah,
but maybe that's kind of the difficult point where maybe 650, 700, you're not quite getting a big enough home or enough of an upgrade to make it worth that jump.
Right. That's what I'm kind of, so, I mean, I've dealt with a couple, even last year, it's like, there's always that little weird range that it's not big enough to move up into, but it's bigger than what a first timer needs. Too big for a first time, And so it's like it's almost, it's a good place to shop if you can get there.
There you go. That's going to be my point. Yeah. It's a good place to shop.
There you go.
Because everyone else is looking over $1 million.
Yeah.
Okay. So Tyler.
Yep.
Let's let you set the stage. Let's make your case.
Yes.
Why would somebody want to stretch their budget to, let's say, $900 or $1 million? The bank says yes. My heart says maybe not.
Yes. Your heart says yes. So, I mean, based like, and I'll use the example of myself. So when I was shopping for a house, I think we were approved at 300, and this is like 10 years ago now. So this is my first house. So I think we were approved maybe to 300, but we wanted to stay around like the 200 to 250 range. Like, we didn't want to top out. But I feel like now, looking back, if I would have bought the house that Mel fell in love with at $280,000, which is now worth $700,000, and not buy the bungalow for $240,000 that we converted, and I can appreciate like the investor side of my brain was like, it was the right decision. And I look back and we lived for free for 3 or 5 years in that house basically, so I could appreciate that. But looking, if I didn't have to put all the money I did into the house that I live in now, would I be in a better situation, or at least an equal situation, but living in a better house? Yes, I think it would. Like, I think those appreciate, like, let's say the rule of 72. So every 7 years, your investment doubles. If your investment at $200,000 is a $12,000 down payment, or you bump it up to a $20,000 down payment, but you're obviously leveraged into higher or like more loan to value, you're going to make more. If you buy at $250, buy at $500 and it doubles, you're obviously better at the $500. On top of that, the tax, I'm not even going to say deferral, but tax savings that you get out of a primary residence is much higher, obviously. And that's why people increase, especially wealthier people will buy bigger houses, because you're putting your money into something that is tax safe,
sheltered, right? Yeah. I understand that point, and I agree with it as well. In some respects, I have to disagree, but I think kind of the same thing. I remember when we bought our first house, we had sort of a certain budget, and ours was lower because it was like a long time ago, 2004, I guess, when we bought our first house. And at that point, I think the difference between being in one neighborhood versus another was probably about $30,000 to $40,000.
Right.
So we're looking at that time houses were only $100,000. They were so cheap. But yeah, so it was like 100 versus 130 to 150.
Right.
And at that time we were so young and we had like no money and nothing going on, right? Well, Ben had a job, single income. I was doing grad school at the time, and it was like, we did the conservative thing, but had we done the $40,000 to $50,000 more thing,
right,
that house certainly would have appreciated more. Right. But it gave us sort of that, and we actually did this sort of 7-year itch. After 7 years, sold it, ended up buying 2 places with that sort of equity there. So it worked out well. But sometimes it's good to stretch. If it's even though it looks like a lot more, like 30 to 40% more,
right.
in the end, you're going to be happier. And I agree with the assessment that your primary residence is a tax-free asset that,
right.
you know, if you have the ability to grow it, perhaps that's the right thing to do. But it also makes me,
for agreeing with me.
super nervous though. It makes me really nervous because taxes are higher in a higher price property. Our city taxes here are quite high, and that can be a couple $1,000s a year. Plus the cost if you're buying a much larger home, the cost to heat it. I remember my first realtor, she said, the house is never too big. Actually, she said that to Ben. She said, Ben, the house is never too big. Because he was like, this house is a little bigger than what I think we'd like. But yeah, I think in terms of the costs and everything, it can be.
Yeah. I mean that's a great point.
Scary.
I feel like it is. I mean, especially if you're buying like a similar house, one's unfinished and one's finished, and you have to spend $100,000 more. Is the mental load of buying the smaller house and knowing that your furnace is older and your roof is older and maybe your shingles need to be redone and there's a couple like maintenance things that will come up, is that more taxing than knowing that you have a much higher mortgage payment, property tax payment, potentially utility bills? Like I think back at mine and Mel's, you know, first couple years in the house, could we travel as much as we did if we stretched our mortgage? And, you know, could we live the same life?
Right.
And
So maybe the
not.
first house is something you don't stretch for. And then that move up, you're saying stretch because the house has an upgraded furnace, roof, etc. You're not going to have a lot of maintenance for the next little while.
Right.
So it's worth the peace of mind.
Right. Yeah, I would, if we ended the conversation like that, I would be okay. The first house, just get into it. Doesn't matter what it looks like. Second house, get the one that you want.
Yeah. Make your heart palpitate and get the expensive house. So, okay, my thought is don't stretch yourself. So we were talking about that funny sort of pocket of homes. Right now, I think it's that sort of $600,000 to $700,000 range where the homes are not quite big enough for some people to move into. So they're being not looked at. They're being overlooked. So that's where you can get a good deal. I'm a girl who likes a good deal. So I think it's always good to know what your max budget is. You know, have a contingency plan for if there are things that need to be repaired. So for roofs, furnaces, all that kind of big ticket item, you definitely want to have the savings available to take care of those things should they arise, regardless of your budget. But certainly you may find something that needs a little bit of work, and you know how I like a fixer-upper, but just make sure it's within your budget. And I think it's worthwhile exercise of looking what's in that sort of $600,000 to $700,000 range that could fit that next move. That maybe it's just a move in neighborhoods. Maybe it's to a better school district or closer to where your friends are, closer to where your kids' activities are, depending on what your lifestyle is. Maybe it's more a move for location and a little bit of size. Maybe you just get a garage, you don't get a double garage. Maybe you don't get a triple garage, but it's worthwhile move just for being in the right neighborhood and sticking in that budget. And I think you can get a good deal because between 6 and 7 right now, there's a few little gems out there.
There's some deals to be had. I was even showing houses today that have been sitting for a little while, and I'm like, how is this not sold? Why? Yeah. What's going on with this?
Yeah, and that's the thing. The common thought is, what's wrong with this house? But it's not. It's what's wrong with everybody who's overlooking this house. That's the question. So I think, you know, there's a peace of mind that you can gain by not overstretching your budget. Life happens, life changes. You know, I have a lot of friends who are in geology and engineering communities working for various mining companies, and they go through cycles. You know, miners and unionized people may be safe, quote unquote, like safer from job loss, but those who are professionals, engineers, geologists, I've seen many of my friends to have to change maybe not change their careers, but change their employment because all of a sudden there's a big layoff and nobody knows. Like it's one day everything's great, next day you're out with a box, and it's happened to so many of our friends. So if you don't overextend yourself or plan to sort of hit that max budget, you've got some time. It's always nice, you know, certainly when these things happen, often you're a little bit protected with time. You get a bit of a severance, but still, to not have that overwhelming stress
Right.
of finding another job right away and being able to sort of ride it, I think is super important. So,
Yeah.
and travel.
Right.
You get to travel more. If you spend less on your house, you get to travel more.
That's true.
Which is something that I love.
Okay. So I think we can agree there.
You'll give me
I will give you
my point.
your point because you gave me one before.
There you go.
We're being nice. We're debating, but we're also being
It's
nice.
a friendly debate. It's always a friendly
Right.
debate.
So I think, having the buffer is obviously, very important to whether, doesn't matter what you're buying. Like if you're buying a fixer upper, having a buffer to be able to do renovations, I think is obviously very important. But at the same time, like if you're going to extend, like I think you should, like you have to be safe, and like maybe you extend, but you're not buying a Cadillac Escalade and a Volvo. Maybe you're sticking with
Volvo. But you definitely buying a car is not a great way to spend money anyway.
Right. Yeah.
So be smart.
Right.
Buying your cars.
Right.
Don't be flashy.
Yeah.
Be flashy when you buy your house, maybe.
Yeah. Last year I put 2 people into very, very nice houses, and they showed up in not a beat up truck, but like an older truck, nothing like not brand new. It's not $120,000 truck. Like they're reasonable because they want the house.
Some of my friends who are, very comfortable,
Right.
drive like the old Toyota RAV4s or what's the larger one? The Toyota. Yeah. A lot of those people, because those cars last forever. So why change it?
Right.
Okay. Should we move into our rapid fire?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
I'll go first.
You're first on the list.
Okay. First time buyer. Okay. Let's switch it back. First time buyer, 2 incomes, stable job with an emergency fund.
Ooh.
Do you stretch or do you keep it safe?
Safe.
Yeah.
I always bet safe.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. As long as you can find the right house.
I
Go safe.
think they earned it. I think they stretch.
No.
All right.
Never know when that job's going to be gone.
All right.
Okay. My question to you, single income buyer, commission-based job, no emergency fund. Should they stretch or play it safe?
I think they maybe keep it safe, play it safe, I would say. Only because you're a single person, commission-based. You never know what your next couple of years are going to look like. Maybe you meet somebody, maybe they don't like your house. Maybe you have to move anyways. Let's play it safe on that.
Wait till you have an emergency fund, maybe, and then after the emergency fund.
Fair. Yeah, no emergency fund. Yeah, play it safe, I guess. Yeah. Okay, the buyer wants a bigger home in a better neighborhood, and it's $40,000 more. Let's say $50,000 more than a similar house in a crappier neighborhood.
Ooh, okay, I like this one. Okay, $40,000. What is that like?
Let's bump it up 50. That's 50.
50. So that's maybe $250 a month in mortgage payment.
Yeah.
Because it's about $500 for every 100,000 ish.
Yep.
Yeah. So say $250 a month. I would find it. I would find that $250 a month, and I would stretch.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go.
I would. Ooh.
Cool.
Okay. Question for you. The buyer is house poor, but the home is objectively the better asset. Stretch or safe?
Better asset. I think if they're house poor, you got to play it safe. Like from a professional, like if somebody came to me with this scenario, I would say play it safe.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah, I would. Rates go up at renewal, and the payment jumps $400 a month. You obviously did a stress test for that, but what are your thoughts on that? Let's keep it longer than a rapid fire, but
yeah. So I think you always have to be prepared for that, right? Like, especially when we had really, really low rates,
right?
We have to realize that that's not going to last,
Right.
So you had 5 years to figure out that that's not going to last.
Mm-hmm.
And the last few years, especially, we saw rates going up. So if you're at renewal time now and your rate's gone up, I hope you've saved for it,
Right.
and been prepared.
Yeah.
There's also the re-amortization discussion, right? That you can talk to your mortgage broker about.
Right.
But ultimately, you don't really want to have to do that and pay more interest in the long run.
Yep.
Hopefully you figure it out.
That's fair.
Oof, that's a tough question.
I know.
Okay. How about the buyer's been approved for $500,000. They want to spend $480,000. Do you think they should stay at $430,000? Oh wait, you think they should stay at $430,000? Do you say something to them?
I mean, it's like,
it's a discussion, I guess.
Yeah, you always have the discussion of like whether you need to spend the full amount. I mean, and I feel like in the $400,000 to $500,000 range, I would definitely, like, it's hard to find something at the $430,000 anyways. So it's a discussion. Yes, it is. But if they're prepared, if they're good, then
it's not really your decision to say.
No, yeah, I'm not gonna tell them not to spend the $500,000 if they can afford it and they're comfortable with it.
Yeah,
absolutely. What's the one thing that buyers forget to budget for when they're already at the top of their price range?
Ooh, I mean, life changes. I think people don't consider that kids want to go to dance classes, right. And unfortunately, sometimes jobs can be lost. Right? I think that's a tough thing. Yeah. We don't always budget for that. Yeah,
I would say that was probably a decent answer. Like, it's just like, it's also like the lifestyle creep. Like, it's just like, oh yeah, we want to do 2 weeks in Florida every year. We want the new car.
Yeah,
it's like
lifestyle creep.
Yeah, it's interesting for sure.
That's true.
Yep.
Okay, so here's where we land. Neither one of us really thinks either is perfect scenario. It's really personal and it's situational, and it's worth having the discussion with your realtor, your mortgage broker, before you make the call on what you're actually going to buy.
Right. And if you're in that decision, or if you're trying to run this decision right now, just test your numbers, make sure all of this is kind of lined up, and make sure that your reserves, be honest with yourself about how much you have in reserves. And it's not just about what the purchase and what your lifestyle looks like right now. What do you want your lifestyle to look like in 5 years? And if things got hard, if somebody lost a job for a little bit, can you carry that? I think that's the main thing, is you can stretch your budget. I think it's actually a good idea to do so, but you have to make sure you know where you're going.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay. Well, thank you so much for listening to the T&T Real Estate Podcast. And until next time, stay ahead in real estate.